What I would like to see for every one of our students is the image of our kids running to school, excited to be there, because it's a joyful place where they feel like who knows what might happen.
DCPS Becoming is our journey towards becoming a whole child anti-racist school district. It means hope to me. And in this day and age, more than ever, hope is an act of courage, and I think it's a courageous idea.
To me, it's different than how I grew up as a student. It was just about my test scores and reading, math, science, and social studies, and did I behave? That was addressed every now and then. What we do now by educating the whole child is we make sure our children have a sense of belonging.
Supporting a whole child means going beyond students' academics. It means thinking about and knowing and understanding who our students are authentically and building the conditions around them to ensure that they can meet their goals, that they can be successful and happy.
It's looking at the teacher, it's looking at the principals, it's looking at the administrators, the family, the community, not just one, but everybody. This is a school system, and you have to work as a system to reach that whole child.
When we say whole child, it means that we are not learners separate from emotional beings. It means that we are doing everything together.
And for a long time, we thought of learning as just academic, but the brain science tells us that learning is constantly social, emotional, academic, cognitive, all at the same time. And so when educators understand the science of what's going on inside the brain and the body, anything is possible.
We hear so many wonderful stories from school leaders about experiences that they are observing in the schools that just let us know that students are feeling like they're in a safe, secure, loving environment. We also have these examples of people knowing how to call out inequities, and people not only calling out inequities, but having a response for it.
The racial equity lens is a critical component of whole child for us, because being a whole child means thinking about all of your identities, but certainly the racial identity is a gap in what we're discussing as a country.
So we need to undo so much of what we've done before, and that comes from using a racial equity lens on our data to understand the disparities that we have. Those disparities are not the result of the inherent differences of children. They are the result of our systems and practices that cause those disparities.
We live in a day and age where racism is prevalent and it shows up in our work every day. And our children come to school and they need an environment that's safe, nurturing, and full of positive relationships.
Everything about being an urban educator in DC has been about righting some of the historical wrongs that have happened in our country, particularly students from certain racial profiles. And it's very important for us to look at our data through a racial lens, look at our practices, our policies, and examine our mindsets and biases so that we can fight against inequities that have been rooted historically in structures of racism.
Life is really challenging, and there are societal events going on. There's experiences of trauma that are affecting how they're approaching school.
We know that trauma imposes stress on the brain and shuts down executive functioning, which becomes an enemy to learning.
Some of my children come to school with additional baggage and they're not ready to just sit down and engage in reading, math, science, and social studies. So it's good to have a conversation with them and get to know what's going on. That way we're able to know more about them as we educate the whole child and not just focus on the traditional content areas.
Good morning, Justin. Good morning. Oh, thank you, Bella. Good morning, Haiti. That's why we greet them at the front door with a hug and a smile and their name, because names matter. And then we make the rounds to make sure they're settled in class and disengaging any stress they might have brought in with them that morning.
School has to be explicit about teaching kids how to look out for other people, how to create an identity for yourself where you're proud, how to find a community where you belong. And by focusing on becoming, we're teaching teachers how to do that.
The most inspiring thing about DCPS Becoming has been the response that our educators have had. They are coming up with so many amazing and innovative strategies to support every single child in their classroom.
When you're an expert educator, you know relationships are at the core of everything. And when you have a strong relationship with a student or a parent, it just unlocks so many other possibilities for what can happen together. And now we're systematizing it so that a kid doesn't have to luck into the right school or the right classroom. classroom, but every single kid in our district can experience it.
The benefits to the student is that they get a village. The benefits to the family is that they get support, and to the school, they have the resources needed for that child to learn.
It means we have the awesome responsibility of curating the learning journey for students as young as 3, all the way to 22, as we stay with our kids to and through college and beyond.
I am a DCPS alum myself, and I'm so proud of where we've come as a district. We are a district that is constantly striving to outgrow ourselves, and the idea of becoming, again, is hopeful. We're not there yet. We know how much important work we have to do, but we are hungry to do that work, and it fuels the urgency that we feel each day to show up and work hard for kids. It's the most important and the best work in the world.
This is going to be accomplished by everyone committing to this together. The goal is that there is a sense of belonging for everyone in a school building.
You can't help but come in, sit down, and do a good job when you feel that everybody here loves you, everybody here supports you.
We know that the science tells us that students already possess their own potential. It is waiting to be unlocked by favorable learning conditions.
Our students will be able to come to school with their full selves, eager and excited without any inhibitions to learn and pursue their learning. My hope for us is that we really stand up for what is the right thing to do for our students to get to their full potential. And at the end of the day, really deliver on the promise of what public education could be and should be, certainly starting here with the nation's capital.